265, 100 million guaranteed. He basically got 53 million a year, which is the area I worried about. Listen, I am willing to pay quarterbacks $50 to $55 million a year that lead their teams or that are the offense, not that quarterbacks that comply with it. Lamar Jackson, with a great organization and a great coach, he gets hurt, Baltimore can't score. Tom Brady with Belichick, he leaves, they fall off a cliff. Jimmy Garoppolo got this roster to the Super Bowl. So my take is I like quarterbacks who initiate advantage, not benefit mostly from it. And I'm not saying he's a smart kid that doesn't move well, but it's like movie directors and movie stars in Hollywood. Spielberg and Cruise are filling the theater. Many people benefit being in their movies, and some with a lot of talent. But again, Hollywood has a bit of a salary cap, like there are budgets for movies and there are budgets for teams. So I think Brock Purdy tends to be closer in talent to a Baker Mayfield, $35 million a year, than Josh Allen, $55 million a year. And I'm not saying Brock is the only quarterback I think's overpaid. It does appear that Trevor Lawrence is overpaid. I said it at the time. I think Dak Prescott and Tua, I didn't like those contracts. I was right on both. But, you know, the critics say, well, Justin Herbert hasn't won a playoff game either, but I think most people in the league know he can deal. So here's what the contract tells me. It tells me that Kyle Shanahan has all the power. And Kyle Shanahan's looking at that contract, and he's looking at a guy who's smart, coachable, moves well. They don't play in crappy weather where Brock Purdy's not been the same guy as he has been in more temperate weather, and he's good with it. But we all know the more you pay Tua and Dak, the less they have around him. Tua's O-line would be a lot better if he made $35 million a year. And Dak would have more weapons if he made $35 to $40 million a year. So I've said this. The Niners didn't really attack their offensive line in the offseason. Trent Williams sprains a knee or an ankle. Cross your fingers he doesn't. And Brock Purdy's going to have to, once again, lead the team and initiate offense. You know, it's interesting. There's a guy that's going to get paid next, C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud went to a franchise that was a dumpster fire with a rookie head coach and a rookie coordinator and kind of a bad team and led him to the playoffs. And then last year, his top two receivers got hurt. Another receiver was in and out of the lineup. The offensive line was awful, and he led him to the playoffs again and won a playoff game. C.J. Stroud is somebody I would pay. Okay, again, he is initiating. He is overcoming. Last year, there was a great moment for people to judge Brock Purdy. He lost Christian McCaffrey. The team was banged up. How did he do? He was 1-6 against playoff teams. So again, I think a lot of people can drive this 49er car, right? Garoppolo drove it to the Super Bowl. I don't think there's a lot of quarterbacks could do what C.J. Stroud's done in Houston. Rookie coach, rookie coordinator, O-line in the tank, Tank Dell gets hurt, Stephon Diggs gets hurt, and he's won the division back-to-back. Now,
okay. Oh, my God. Okay. I feel like my head's about to explode here. Good thing your eyes are closed. Oh, my God. Okay. I don't even know where to begin right here. Let's just begin where we end here with C.J. Stroud. First off, I'm a huge C.J. Stroud fan, but like he's going up against the Colts, the Jags. I mean, like what are oh my gosh. What are we even saying here? And the Tennessee Titans. And we want to talk about like winning the division there? Like what? Like what are oh my God. This is first off, in C.J. Stroud's rookie year, they were a Gardner Minshew pass away from not making the playoffs. So no. Okay, like that's just absurd. I mean, the Houston Texans had the 14th ranked defense, not amazing, but not terrible. The 49ers had the 29th ranked defense. Brock Purdy would have won more games if his defense wasn't terrible. Colin even talked about that. Talked about how, Shanahan doesn't prioritize special teams and defense. They lost games because of special teams and defense. Like, straight up. So we can't just go by this record. Or if we want to talk about, well, he went 1-6 against Buck. Okay, if we want to, because that's a stat. A record is essentially a stat as well. So let's just use stats then, nothing else. Let's not use any context, anything else. Let's just do that. Well, PFF, Brock Purdy was ranked 10th. Okay, 82.4. And that was with a rough team around him. Nobody would say that Patrick Mahomes had a great team, dealt with all these injuries. He was 82.4. Patrick Mahomes, 85.8. But they won more games. Yeah, because the Chiefs literally had a top defense in the NFL. Second to only the Philadelphia Eagles. Kind of matters, right? Brock Purdy threw for 3,864 yards. Patrick Mahomes, 3,928. Baker Mayfield, 4,500. Justin Herbert, 3,800. Josh Allen, 3,700. This is all within range here. So I'm not, CJ Stroud threw for 3,727 yards. Brock Purdy, 8.5 yards per attempt. CJ Stroud, 7. Brock Purdy, 20 touchdowns. CJ Stroud, 20. Brock Purdy, 12 interceptions. CJ Stroud, 12. Brock Purdy, 65.9% completion percentage. CJ Stroud, 63.2%. So I'm just not entirely sure what we're talking about here. I really don't. Does not really making a whole lot of sense to me. And again, I defend CJ Stroud throughout that whole season. So like this is not, I'm not even trying to argue like, oh, I'd rather have Brock Purdy over CJ Stroud. Like that's honestly really not the point here. Brock Purdy dropbacks with pressure 200. CJ Stroud 235. Now CJ Stroud had more dropbacks. So he's going to have more pressures. He dropped back 622 times. Brock Purdy 537. So that's within striking distance of each other. What does that mean? It means their O-line was bad for both of them. That's what that also means. And we want to say, oh, well, if so-and-so goes down for the 49ers, look out. All I heard all season was everyone making excuses for Patrick Mahomes in the O-line. So we can make excuses for Patrick Mahomes in the O-line, but we can't make excuses for Brock Purdy? And you want to talk about these other quarterbacks, and this is what drives me crazy. Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's always the go-to quarterback, and rightfully so. When we talk about look how much money he's getting paid, and look what he hasn't, look what he hasn't done. Dak Prescott has been on awesome rosters. I got in a whole fight with someone in the comment section, and they're like, "Oh, Dak Prescott's never had help," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" That's one of the most insane comments I've ever heard. He's consistently had a top O-line, a top defense, top run game, a great wide receiver, great defense. He's had great defenses, great O-lines, great run games. Okay, so he doesn't have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase at the same time. Oh no. But he's had great rosters. I mean, it's just look it up. It's not that hard to find. And he's never done anything. He has not won. He's lost playoff games where his defenses have played great and he can't get more than like 14 points. That's on Dak Prescott. Now you could say, well, Brock Purdy's been on great teams. Yes, and he's been to 2 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl. And he held his own against the 49ers, against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Did he play unbelievably amazing? Did he light the league on fire? He did not. Could he have played better? Absolutely. Do you point to him saying why they lost? Absolutely not. Can you point to playoff games that the Dallas Cowboys lost and said, Dak Prescott did not do good? You could say, yep, you can. Yep, you definitely can. I do not think Brock Purdy is up there with Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. I do not think that at all. I'm very confident in that. But when we look at this range, when you look at the millions of dollars, and we don't even have to go through the guaranteed because the guaranteed is also within range. This is the top 10 quarterbacks, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. He's 1 million away from being 10. He's 1 million away from being outside of the top 10, essentially. Okay. Listen, I think we're going to see a newer trend of quarterbacks taking less money. I do believe that. We saw it with Josh Allen. When Jalen Hurts is up for a contract, I think he's not going to take as much money. We've seen it with Mahomes. Of course, we've seen it with Brady over the years. It'll be interesting to see what Lamar Jackson does. I'm very curious with that. But when you're talking about a $53 million contract, that's right within range, okay, of a quarterback who, because again, when you're comparing it to Jordan Love and Tua and Trevor Lawrence, like at that time, that was the top dollar, quite frankly. And also with Joe Burrow, with all his injuries, like I don't blame him for taking all the money in the world as well, because there was like a part, just last season, going into last season, people were kind of like, if Joe Burrow gets one more injury, like would you give him a long-term contract? Like he can't stay healthy, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a fair point. It really is. It's why the Philadelphia Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts. Carson Wentz could not stay healthy, and he was out for 3 playoffs in a row. Like you can't have that, right? And so I just don't understand why we kind of keep twisting this, because you hope to have a quarterback who's good enough to be in the Super Bowl. And we talk about how, oh, okay, well, if you pay a quarterback too much money, then it's harder for you to build a great roster, which is very true, which is fair. But at the same time, we have so many quarterbacks who have failed to lead great rosters to Super Bowls. And yet here, we clearly have Brock Purdy, a quarterback who's good enough to get his team to a Super Bowl. And we're saying, though, that then he shouldn't get the money. He should be getting like a $35 million deal or something. Like, I don't understand that logic, honestly. Tua has been on an unbelievable roster, unbelievable offense, could not score points against the Kansas City Chiefs and lost in the playoffs. Also, unfortunately for him, cannot stay healthy. Trevor Lawrence, unable to stay healthy. Jordan Love, he had a banged up roster, okay, last year as well. Some receivers went down, et cetera, and he could not lead the Packers into past the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, that they played awful that game in the playoffs, and you can't say that his contract was the fault for that. The contract had just happened, so like you can't say, oh well, they paid him too much money, but no, he still couldn't do anything. Joe Burrow could not get into the playoffs. Josh Allen could not get past Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I Jared Goff has a stacked roster. I understand the defense was banged up last year. That offense did not look good against the Washington Commanders. They lost to the 49ers before Jared Goff was paid the $53 million. Again, stacked roster. Wasn't good enough. So I don't really understand. It's just kind of bizarre. Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, unbelievable roster. Just Pro Bowl, All Pro, Pro Bowl, All Pro, Pro Bowl, All Pro. Haven't been to the Super Bowl. Haven't even particularly played well in the AFC Championship game. So, like, I just, if we say that Brock Purdy should be getting $35 million a year, well then, in reality, pretty much like all these quarterbacks should. I mean, the truth is, how much these quarterbacks get paid is messed up. We can see that. I mean, just look at it. When Dak Prescott is ahead of Josh Allen, we know there's a problem. Okay? We know there's a problem. When Trevor Lawrence is ahead of Brock Purdy and Lamar Jackson, and we know there's a problem. When Tua is ahead of Lamar Jackson, we know there's a problem. When you don't see Patrick Mahomes there and Jalen Hurts, the two most recent Super Bowl champions. I think technically it's Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Stafford. All three of them not there. You know there's like this bizarre problem. So trying to figure out how much these quarterbacks should actually get paid is just it's just a mess to begin with. But to constantly use someone like a Brock Purdy as this like, I don't want to say a barometer, but this example of like, There's going to be problems here. This was what I was concerned about. And it's just like, it just doesn't make sense. If he had Dak Prescott's success, then fine. But it's also really funny because I should have opened with this. Colin says he only wants to pay quarterbacks that can initiate the offense. Dude, when you have an awesome offensive head coach like the 49ers do in Shanahan, the coach wants you to run their offense. He wants you to be the avatar of that offense, an extension of the coach. That is how the Kansas City Chiefs even have won multiple Super Bowls. It's not always just about initiating the offense. It's about running the offense. You know who's been initiating the offense for years? Josh Allen. You know who can't get past the Kansas City Chiefs because they need better coaching and have and be able to actually have a organized game plan? The Buffalo Bills. Go look and see how the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game. It wasn't because of Patrick Mahomes initiating the offense. It was Andy Reid. You can just circle real big, gigantically, Andy Reid. You know who? You know in the Super Bowl they needed Patrick Mahomes to initiate the offense. Was he able to do it, or did the defense swallow him up? The defense swallowed him up. The defense swallowed him up. So this whole idea of like, well, I want to pay someone to initiate the offense. Like, what? Like, I mean, I get it. Watching Josh Allen, watching Lamar Jackson, watching Patrick Mahomes go off script and have those games where they do take over is awesome. It's electric. It's fun. It's exciting. So rarely has that ever led them to win Super Bowls. So rarely have we ever actually seen them do it in meaningful playoff games. In some of the biggest moments of Patrick Mahomes' career, or Lamar Jackson's, or Josh Allen's, or Tom Brady, I mean, we could just go on and on and on. You can point to an amazing play call, a great, play by by someone on the receiving end of the ball, a great block, like whatever it may be. It's not just we have it in our mind that like Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or any of these other quarterbacks have won these Super Bowls where it was just like their isolated greatness. I mean, even the comeback with Tom Brady being down, 28-3 or whatever it was, you realize the defense also needed to stop them, right? Like we know that. People actually even blame Shanahan for being, for calling a bad game in the second half. Like, it takes two to tango here. So even one of the best moments in Tom Brady's career, something that really helped his legend, you still needed a whole nother side of the ball. I mean, you realize that, right? I mean, an awesome off-the-script play by Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game against the Baltimore Ravens. Travis Kelce needed to make this like awesome side, like backwards, like kind of like diving catch. Like all of these things matter. So I'm just, I don't know, man. The best argument for someone who's really leading the offense is actually Josh Allen, because in the vast majority of his playoff games, the vast majority. It's like, I forget exactly what the number is now because I looked it up. I calculated it before last playoffs, and essentially it was like 8 out of 12 or 9 out of 12 playoff games. He's the leading rusher as well. And he leads the NFL all time in total yards per game in playoffs. So both passing and his own individual rushing. It's like 3.0 something, and it's unbelievable, and best touchdown to interception ratio of all time, etc., etc. So by definition, he is leading this offense. He is the one that is just the vast majority of that offense in the biggest, most important games. And yet he can't even get to a Super Bowl. So maybe having someone who without a shadow of a doubt can run an offense and is worth paying as well. Just like it's worth paying Josh Allen, it's also worth paying someone who can, without a shadow of a doubt, run an offense, because there are plenty of quarterbacks who we can question, do you know how to run this offense? I don't know if we know Trevor Lawrence can do it. I don't know if we know if Tua can do it. I don't know if we know if Jordan Love can do it. I know Herbert can do it. I know Lamar. I know Josh. You know, I know other quarterbacks can do it. But, like, we got a bunch of these other quarterbacks who, you know, I think Colin would say Jordan Love is a better talent than Brock Purdy, which I think would be a fair assessment to say. But do we know that Jordan Love knows how to run and execute an offense better than Brock Purdy? We do not know that. I'm very confident in saying I've seen so far that Jordan Love is more talented than Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy runs a better offense than Jordan Love. And what's more important? Honestly, in the modern NFL right now, we are seeing that being able to run an offense is way more important. Be an extension of your coach is way more important. In a lot of ways, you want both. That's kind of who Jalen Hurts has been. He can run the offense and do exactly what his team needs. His team says, hey, we only want you to throw the ball 20 times. Fine, I'll do that. Hey, we don't need you to be the leading rusher. Fine, that's great. In the Super Bowl, ooh, sorry, our run game's not working. We need you to take over, and we really need you to pass the ball. Fine, I can do that too. In a way, you kind of want both. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Brock Purdy? Do you think he's over? Do you think he was overpaid? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.